The question I'm researching is focused on how necessary being computer literate is in modern America. I obtained my primary research from interviewing people I saw around campus of varying ages in hopes of reducing biases in my data. One of the major biases in my research is that I was only able to probe people in Lubbock, so a better way to describe my research question would be, how do people in Lubbock perceive how important computer literacy is in America? The questions I used when I was interviewing people were, how do you think being computer illiterate affects America? How would being computer illiterate affect you? Would you consider everyone being computer illiterate a positive thing? I also asked questions online through an online survey. How important is computer literacy currently in your life? How important is being computer illiterate in America? Do you think it is unsafe to be computer illiterate in America? I felt these questions gave me the best chance at getting responses from people without influencing their decisions and it still being usable data. From the in-person questions, I was able to get a deeper perspective from some people when I asked people, how do you think being computer illiterate affects America? A lot of the answers talked about how the world as a whole would be a lot slower, a lot more inefficient. For example, Tanner says, I think more people would die since fewer people would know how to work the machines in the hospital. The other big concern that was made apparent was threat to national security. Here's what Sarah had to say about the question. Well, it would make life as a whole a lot harder, even from a young age. They wouldn't be able to connect with classmates as well as other kids. I imagine in certain cases it would make people, especially kids, more unsafe due to it being harder to contact an adult in a timely manner. Some of the other responses I got to the first question were, it would make it easier to scam people. I think tech crimes would rise. The world would be a lot more dangerous. I don't think computers are that difficult to use, so I don't think it affects most people. I don't think it matters that much. A lot of people live in rural areas, and I don't really have any use for more than a phone. And all industries would be more efficient and inefficient. After taking a look at the response, it is clear that people think a lack of computer literacy would make an overall more dangerous, unsafe, and slower society. Most of the responses seem logical. It makes sense that people who are less knowledgeable about computers will be more susceptible to different types of scams, with the perpetrator being someone who is computer literate. The danger of high amounts of computer literacy can range from as small as a child being unable to contact their parents, or a grandma being scammed to an internationally renowned tech company having security breaches, or major threats to national security. Diving deeper into what Tanner brought to light, you need computer literate people to work important machines and systems, to teach people how to use those machines and systems. It would make computer literate people a lot more valued in the job field, and computer majors more valued in the college range. The point of everything being more efficient was really driven home when I asked the second question. How would being computer illiterate affect you? As hinted to before, the response to the second question revolved around how their day would be a whole lot less productive because things would take so long. The response to the second question I got were, I couldn't talk to my friends back home. I would have to write all my work out. I wouldn't be able to submit it in person. I would have to get a bigger backpack. I would have to write all people's information down at work, so it would take longer. At my job, I would have to keep track of where people sat on paper instead of the computer, which is just slower. If I was computer illiterate, I would have to find a new major, since I'm a computer science major, so none of the course material would make any sense. I would have a hard time keeping in touch with my family back in India. One of the most interesting responses I got was the one from Jack. He talked about how he would have to switch his major if he wasn't computer literate. He was the last person I talked to, but if I had thought of how not being computer literate would change what your major is, so a large number of people would have to change their major based on that. Because I imagine it'd be unappealing for most people to learn advanced computer skills while also just learning the basics of using a computer. Computer literacy is a lot more things than just computers. It is job systems, different types of weight systems, it revolves around more than just computers as most people know them in a casual sense. In the online survey, I got 39 responses. And for the first question I asked, how important is computer literacy currently in your life? I received one response of, the responses are 1 out of 10. For the first question, I got one response of 1. That was 2.6% of the responses I got. I got 3 5 responses. That's 7.7% of the responses I got. I got 4 for 6%, 6 importance C. That's 10%. I got 8 for 7 importance. That's 20.5%. I got 11 for 8, 5 for 9, and 7 for 10. The second question I asked is, how important is being computer literate in America? I got 1 response for 1, 5 for 2. I got 2 for 5, 2 for 6, 5 for 7, 10 for 8, 9 for 7, and 7 for 9, and 12 for 10. The third question I asked was, do you think it is unsafe to be computer illiterate in America? The way the question is 1 being unsafe as possible and 10 being as safe as possible. For 1, for least safe, I received 5 responses. For 2, I received 4. For 3, I received 10. For 4, I received 6. For 5, I received 6. For 6, I received 4. For 7, I received 2. For 8, I received 1. For 9, I received 1. And for 10, I received 0. For the last question I asked, would you recommend that everyone be computer literate in this day and age? I received 97% for yes. So my online survey matches the in-person questions I asked, in that most people think that it is very important to be computer literate in America in this day and age. Computer literacy is an ever-evolving field which revolves around computer systems in ways that they help people communicate with people across the country, operating job systems. As the world continues to get faster and faster, it's more efficient for industries to move towards computers with how they're able to handle large amounts of information all at once. Computer literacy is involved in almost all job fields, from being able to produce music, process video games, and render movies. Almost any industry can handle computer literacy.